It's not getting off it, it's staying off it, and that's my main battle at the moment, staying off it.
There is that saying, once a junkie, always a junkie. You know, I'm just hoping to prove that wrong. I've got to sort it out now, or I'm not going to be around for much longer.
I've been given this chance now for this Thailand trip, and I have to make it. It's either now or never.
This is like the last stop, you know, and the last time that I'll be doing this and actually sorting my life out. The drug rules my life, and like married to it, like married to Mr. Heroin. You are, that comes first before anything. You are basically attached to it, bound to it, tied to it, strapped to it, any which way to it, every which way.
Rebecca is a heroin addict and has been taking drugs for the last 15 years. She's tried to give up 7 times, but has always relapsed. Now, aged 29, she's determined to break her addiction.
I think you know and feel when it's the right time. I seem to have come to some sort of, I don't know what it is, but some sort of point I feel very much that I want to give up. I want to stop. I just want to know what normal feels like again, because I can't remember what it feels like. So nice, but
like many heroin users, Rebecca is also addicted to a range of other drugs, including valium, crack, and the heroin substitute, methadone. She has recently returned to live with her family near Henley in Berkshire after years of living on the road as a New Age traveller. She hopes that with their help and support, she'll be able to turn her back on heroin once and for all through a radical detoxification programme based in Thailand.
She is desperate to come off. She's reached a stage in her life that I thought she would reach at 18. And it's kind of like she's grown up overnight and she wants more. She wants a real life. She's frightened, don't get me wrong, she's petrified of reality. She hasn't seen reality since she was 15 years old. But she wants to experience reality. She doesn't know what it is to live in the real world as an adult. She only ever lived in it as a child.
Heroin use has rocketed in recent years, and the drug is accessible in all areas of Britain. It's estimated that drug addiction costs the UK £19 billion a year. Simon is one of 120,000 known heroin addicts. Now 22, he started injecting 4 years ago.
All of the people that I was hanging around with in Lambourne got hooked. I would say near enough, about 98% addicted to heroin. 3 have died. The deaths of our friends that have died has made no impact on us trying to get off it. It's a nasty, nasty way of life, and to get involved in it is just the worst thing I've ever done in my life.
Simon lives at home with his mother Leslie and younger brother Nick in the small Berkshire village of Lambourne.
I'm going to get some water for those poor flowers.
I dabbled it when I was 12, 13, but then left it alone for a few years, and then I joined the army. I joined the parachute regiment, and that as a means to getting out of the road that I could see that all my friends were going down and that I was heading down.
He passed out as a paratrooper, which of course, yeah, I was very proud of him when he did that. And it was, that was really good. And he settled into his army career and was doing very, very well. He came home for the weekend on leave, and there was some contaminated heroin which he got hold of and used, and we nearly lost him.
Basically went out for a drink with all my friends and everyone was using. Went back to a friend's house and used. I had an overdose and I was in hospital for a week and a half, and the army found out, and then obviously yeah, I got kicked out of the army for that one weekend of a heroin overdose.
When Simon came back into the environment, I think that was really the very worst thing that could have happened to him. It was all so very easy just to slot back into that way of life again, probably feeling very depressed and very disappointed about what had happened.
The last 2-3 years have been hell, because I've been an addict. Ruined my mum's life, ruined the last 3 years of my little brother's life, my life, and most of the people, relatives that know me, really.
The drug is everything in their life. It's their God. You know, the only thing that's important in life is your next fix. That's all that matters, is the next fix. And that sometimes gets really hard. You've got to get to the doctors for your medical, haven't you? So we've got
Rebecca needs to take £20 worth of heroin every day just to be able to get out of bed and function normally. Although her parents are desperate for her to give up, they've agreed to pay for her drugs to keep her stable and out of trouble until she detoxes.
Basically, I know that if I don't give up soon, I'm lucky to still be alive now. I've had 3 ODs. I'm addicted to sticking needles in myself, and it's horrible, it's sick, but I enjoy it, the whole thing. From getting the stuff, you know, once I've got the stuff in my pocket, I want to do it straight away. I went my arms, my legs, my feet, I even did my neck. That went, collapsed, veins. So now I've had to start using my groin, which is the last. I swore I'd never ever use my groin. You know, just once you got that needle in and you see that blood coming into the syringe and you know you've got it in a vein and you know you can push it in and there's instant relief, basically. And instantly you can feel it going through your whole body. Sort of get a tingling sensation through your whole body. Instantly, well within a few seconds of it getting pumping around your body, especially with going to groin, because the closer it is to your heart, obviously, the quicker you feel it. I mean, that wasn't a massive, as much as I'd like to do, because I can't afford to do as much as I'd like to do, so I actually get a hit off it, an actual real buzz off it. To get an actual whole buzz off it, I'd actually have to put the whole £20 worth in there, but, you know, it's enough to take the edge off and make me feel better, and I was feeling a lot better.
I just can't help her. You know, and it really gets to you. I can't do what I want to do. You know, I'd love to pick her up and cuddle her and take away her pain for her. I can't do that. I'd love to take her away somewhere and make it all better. I can't do that. I'd love to have been able to do it years ago, so all these years of her life where she's been on this goddamned awful drug could be wiped away and she could have been doing something with her life. Not wandering from one fix to another fix to another fix.
Just want out. I just want my life back, to be able to wake up in the morning. I don't know what it feels like to be able to wake up in the morning and not have to either shove a needle in me or take that horrible methadone.
Rebecca is undergoing counselling to make sure she meets the strict criteria laid down by East West Detox, the organisation which will take her to a monastery in Thailand for her next attempt to break her addiction.
In the West, we tend to suppress the demons, as it were, within.
The charity is run by NHS drug worker Mike Sarson. He has to raise £3,000 for every addict he takes there.
I've done enough home detoxes as well, you know, before in the past. That just hasn't worked, with the reducing with methadone. that hasn't worked. Tried Detox 5, that didn't work. So I'm just really hoping that I get my life back after this one.
The monastery of Thamkrabok offers a very different approach from Western detoxes and is not an easy option for addicts. But of the 20 people Mike has already taken there, 17 remain drug-free.
The success rate in the West is very low. Most people relapse very quickly afterwards, and a lot of people don't actually complete the detox because, you know, once they start to feel any pain or discomfort, they can just discharge themselves at a whim. I've worked for the NHS for a community drugs team for nearly 10 years now, and I certainly don't see the client loads decreasing. They're actually increasing, and people are becoming younger and younger.
This lack of success in treating heroin users drove Mike to seek alternative ways of helping people beat their addiction.
I just feel that rather than working very separately, you know, like the Europe working in this very clinical medical sort of model, that we could actually learn from each other. Thamkrabok, it provides a therapeutic space where one can learn the discipline to change the habit.
And I'm just basically really looking forward to it, but also very scared because I know it's not going to be easy, you know, by any stretch of the imagination, because unlike the last detox I did, I'm not knocked out for the painful bit. I'm going to be going right through the painful bit, which I think is better because you experience all the pain.
Simon is also preparing to go to Thailand with East West Detox. Having tried and failed 4 times to come off heroin in this country, he's now ready to try a different approach. Having already thrown away a promising army career, his addiction also led him into theft to fund his habit.
I was in prison for a year. I managed to get off heroin and I stayed clean for a year. Got all my senses back, got my whole strength of mind back, and basically said to myself, I'm never going to touch that sick stuff again, ever. And then come out of prison, 2 weeks later I'm using again.
Like many parents, Leslie found herself completely unable to fight against the power of the drug over her family, and was devastated to discover that her eldest son also became addicted.
I've got as low as anyone could get. I've been suicidal at times. You know, you can't see any end to it. And you're so worried for that. And I've come in and you don't know whether you're going to find them dead or, you know, because that's what they're playing around with, isn't it? You know, they're really messing about with their lives.
For 3 years, Leslie battled against her son's addiction before finally deciding on a tough love approach.
My mother threw me out of home, me and my older brother, and we were living in a car for a while. No job, no money, and withdrawing, sat there. We were just at our lowest of low, and that was when it really hit home for the first time. You know what I mean, you really have messed up.
It proved a turning point. Simon's brother moved away from the village and has managed to give up by himself. Simon agreed to tackle his addiction and Leslie allowed him home. He was put on a methadone program, the prescribed heroin substitute which he needs to take every day, although like many addicts he continues to crave and use heroin as well.
I don't think methadone's the answer, personally. I think it helps to stabilise their lives, because obviously their lives do become so haphazard at times, and I think they realise that. So methadone is a prop, I think. You know, it stops them then having to resort to crime, and so that's where methadone comes in. But it is not. I don't think it helps them with their addiction at all.
After weeks of counselling with Mike, Simon is now realising that his addiction is not just a physical problem.
Do you think, you know, around the mental side.
Any other withdrawal I've gone from, I'm not worried about the physical side of it, like I said before, and I'm going to concentrate on the mental side of things this time, which I've not done before on my detoxes, which I think is why I've failed before, because I've never battled the mental side.